Hello guys. Okay, so today we're going to talk about Bitcoin's breakout, Ethereum's potential breakout or breakout. Depends on how you want to look at it. As well as I'm going to share some momentum entry points for you to get in on the move if you were doubting the lows and didn't quite buy, so that you can kind of be, safe. Remember, I cannot give financial advice. I can actually show you the risk, lay out where the invalidation would be for the momentum we're clearly seeing in the market, and then try and arm you with enough information as possible so that you can make the best decision for your portfolio. And then I'm going to be looking at OP, Aero, Celestia, and Hyperliquid. So those charts are going to be up for grabs, or up for discussion, not for grabs, for discussion. So if you're interested, let me know in the comments if there's any other coin. I'll do one more coin in the comments, drop it at, and then we can get into that. Okay, so if that tickles your fancy and you're new to the channel, say hi to me. I would love to know who you are. And for the regulars, hello Stanko, Renee, Mr. Firestorm, nice to have you here. Let's get into this. Right, so in short, we were looking at Bitcoin and Ethereum and gold for a while ago, and the big thing was that the alts itself had a couple of alts that's been outperforming Bitcoin for a while now. And alt season means that all the dead dying coins will outperform Bitcoin as well. Or the top 100 coins will preferably all outperform Bitcoin. And we were looking at coins like OP, ENA, Filecoin, Polkadot. There's a lot of them that has that outperform potential, but has not been doing that great ever since. So these kind of coins are important for us. So keeping up with the momentum of Bitcoin, the analysis was that I was looking at Bitcoin making lower on demand, losing demand, and only now recently staying above its axis. And the argument is if we can push on higher, we will find that this supply zone here, this supply zone there, and that supply zone there will get taken out because there will be stops there, promises to buy. And to go to the live chart, that's exactly what happened. Price has now had a run on these stops. So it's not necessarily bullish demand that took the price to 112. Basically, it was all these shorts that were still sitting there. They stop limit orders, their promises to sell that kind of engineered this move. So we want to get in on this, because if this is the case, if the supply is lost, then the argument would be then the trend within this range has now turned bullish and we want to see more. Okay, so let's unpack this range and then we'll take it from there. So from the weekly time frame for Bitcoin, let me just get the Bitcoin chart up here real quick. There we go. The weekly time frame for Bitcoin, I've been warning you guys, and I said that we've got yet again another strong bearish divergence. And a bearish divergence isn't a bullish, a bearish signal. It's a bullish signal until we fall below that first pivot. Now, just to explain this for everybody from a fractal play, this is the previous bull market. And as long as there was bearish divergence, the market remained bullish, like I said, until price starts falling below that pivot. And like you can see this time around, price went below it, but then fought to close above it. Went below it again, fought to close above it. And in this environment, I'm saying that momentum for Bitcoin is lost on the weekly, the macro time frame. And yet again, we created another divergence. And as you can see, as price fell below that, the momentum, there was no more momentum. It wasn't strong enough. And these levels that you see here, these levels, they're statistical, they're fib levels. The statistical levels where strong bearish divergence could turn the trend around. Now, why do I want to sound bullish and then sell you on bearishness? Well, simple. I just want to remind you of the fractal and the reality that as much as this is different, this is also the same. The market will always have a rhyme, like a heartbeat to it. And that's what technical analysis is a fractal play of that. So you can see that the same things are happening now. Again, we created strong bearish divergence. Okay, we stayed above the pivot. And now we're slowly but moving, losing momentum, but it's not bearish yet. Okay, so that's the weekly time frame. And then if we take this onto the daily time frame, the argument was that if you look at this from a daily point of view, we're basically still range bound with hopium in the market that this will take out the supply and start trending upwards. And the rule is, as always, is when you're in a range bound environment, this was the trend for the daily, we're range bound, you're bearish at the top. So I'm just going to write there bear, and then you're bullish at the bottom of the range, which from a lateral point of view, which is sideways range for daily, Bitcoin's been grinding in this area. It's not like it's been here, never been here before. Is that there is still the potential that this short squeeze, which it was, if not met with bullish demand, could still go back down and only later on move up. So even if we fail here, it's still bullish because we first need to lose this lateral range on the daily, this $100,000 level, before we can even talk about long-term bearishness, which means that this boasts very well for the alts. The alts do have potential to give us some good gains at this stage. Now, this is a trade for a living podcast. So the argument is, how can I trade this? So in the trading time frame would be this on the 4-hour time frame. And because Bitcoin now has given us this breakout, you want to add in momentum. Now, the easiest tool that I can give you to use this is actually the buddy indicator. Now, the buddy indicator is an indicator that basically has all my trade strategies built into the indicator to an extent. I mean, so you don't need me. You just need the indicator to run on your screen. And you can kind of know, if I was in the room with you, what I would be looking for. Okay. And if you want the buddy indicator, it's a simple, just open your Blofin account using my partner link. Just support the content. It's as simple as that. And if it wants to load, 1, 2, 3, go. There you go. Make sure that you have the Crypto EMC link at the bottom, and then head over to the Discord. Now, your Discord would look something like this. And at the top, there's the navigation channel. And all you need to do is ask for the Blofin partner role. Click on that little button, and the channel that appears, follow the step-by-step instructions there. If you want to know where you can find the links, you can click on the partner link there, and there you can find Blofin link, or it's in the video description. Supporting the content goes miles and will greatly be appreciated, guys. Okay, so back to where we're at. Buddy indicator. Why is the buddy indicator so powerful? Well, simple. When we have these breakout environments, the buddy indicator measures the oscillators, picks up on the momentum, and then gives you the continuation entry. So it says enter between 111 and 110, but note that we don't want price to fall below that range, because then the momentum clearly isn't there. And then you want to hold for these TPs. So it makes it very simple. So it almost functions as a signal service as well. So it explains the strategy by giving you the name. There it is, SO3. And then it gives you the probable setup for that strategy. And all the information that you want, if you want to learn how this indicator works, is also in the Discord. Okay, can be found in the Discord. Now, let's just make sure that I can find it, because now I am not clicking on the right channel. How to use the tools. Okay, so there's the trend scope indicator. This is for the alts. And there's your buddy indicator. This is for trading. All in the Discord, everything that you would need to use this if you want to learn up a little bit more. Okay, so now you can see, let's have a look at the last time we had massive bearish momentum. It said, well, momentum is there. If you want to enter, price will not go below that or above that range to remain bearish. And what did it do? It went above it, it switched bullish, it colored the candles blue for you, and then it said your direction is trade the bullish setups. So don't trade the bearish setups, trade the bullish setups. It's as simple as that. With that, there's also a trader guide in the Discord. So let me just remind you guys of that, the trade guide. That is another tool that will help you use the indicator a little bit more efficiently. Okay, now that's that for the buddy indicator. So it's saying that there's an opportunity for us to get in, go on the long, and we want to see this momentum keep going strong. Another tool that you can use if you want to use your fib levels is the fib speed resistance fan. Okay, now let's click on that. Let's load it. And let's look at the settings. So I switch everything off but the 38.2. Now you can color this in whichever color you find works with your trading view color scheme. I decided I'm now going to be green for a while. Okay. And the way that works is you bring in your RSI real quick. You look for where the last bottom was, and you want to have one wave complete. So if this was a rudimental Elliott wave analysis, your argument would be you're looking for just this. Okay, 1, 2. Now you want to play with 3, 4, and 5. And the basis with this is, maybe let's just color the Elliott wave, say, let's make it yellow, then you can see it nicely. Okay, so the basis on this is that this would be your 1, your 2, and now you're waiting for 3. There still needs to be strong bearish divergence and. This 4 hours got nothing bearish about it. Okay, and then there will be a 4 and a 5. With the rule on the 4 is the 4 needs to be below the 2 on the RSI, okay, but price needs to be above the 2. So there's still a lot of gains to be had there. Now that we have that little trick there, this is where you bring in your fan and you keep tracking this now on these highs. Every time Bitcoin makes a new high, you adjust the line. And when we fall below that line, that's when we break trend. Okay. Let's apply this to the last time. First wave. Okay. So from this point onwards, every time, just move it to the point, price falls below that line. So it's still bullish, still bullish, still bullish, still bullish up to that point. There we lose it. Now is your time to get out. You get it. And then you start looking for your new divergence. So it's a simple tool, much simple tool to use. And combine that then with the RSI and all the other stuff. I think you should be sorted. Okay, now let's talk. Let's see what else we have. So on the 4-hour updates, as I shared in the Discord, you've got all the information. I've walked you guys through, and everybody should be in the long with me. Now my long's sitting in about $25,000 profit. I'm still carrying my short. Now guys would say, why are you so crazy? Simple. Because of the weekly time frame, I'm not blind to what the TA is telling me. Okay. And as a trader, you're allowed to play both sides of the market. You don't need to pick a side. Okay. Now, that's everything for Bitcoin. Let's quickly go to the comments section. Let's see what we've got. We've got about 150 people joining in live. Guys, do me a solid. Hit the like, hit the subscribe. And if you want to see ETH, share the video with somebody. Let's quickly, or retweet, repost if you're watching on Twitter. Then we can move on. Let's see what Stanko has to say. Big Candles is coming because his hair is up. Yes, you never know. Okay. Good morning, Bronwyn. Nice to have you here. Arpit, hello. Glad to see you with a banger. Okay, so guys are not critiquing my charts anymore. You're critiquing my hairstyle. What's up with that? Okay. Let's move on. Let's move on to Ethereum. So I want to talk to you guys about Ethereum. Okay. So you know a little bit of history. Let's talk back to what happened to me with Ethereum ever so recently. I'm going to switch to a weekly time frame, or daily time frame will probably be better. So at this stage, when we were there, sitting at $3,400, I think about my average buying price for ETH was around 3,200, thereabout. I was looking at Bitcoin at this stage, and Bitcoin broke out. You know, Bitcoin had a nice move, and I was looking to convert all my BTC into Ethereum on the basis that alt season typically happens, and it's not a long-term thing. It's for a short period of time. The best way that I can try and explain that to you would probably be to use the dominance. No, not necessarily dominance. Let's maybe use ETH BTC pairing. So let's do that. So I'm going to load ETH, but the BTC pairing. And I'm not going to go with Bybit because we need a little bit more history. So we're going to go with, we can go with Bitfinex. It's been there for forever. Now, if you go onto the weekly time frame and you look at this, okay, when is it good to be within Ethereum or any alt for that matter? Alt season was those few months. So you can argue from January February 2017 till about that July 2017 alt season. Okay. Then there was a short-lived one again, and then that's it. Other than that, everything else was Bitcoin growing. Okay. Then we had the previous bull cycle where you had ETH kind of chop around, and then you had a little bit of a alt season with Ethereum, and then Solana came, Cardano came, then Solana came, then DOT came, and they all stole a little bit of ETH's thunder at that stage because ETH network pricing was very high. So to be profitable in Ethereum was, your timing needed to be perfect because you needed to be in there for that small amount of time, and then that's it. And where we're at now is the question that I'm asking myself is, are we going to be doing this? Which means it's still positive. As Bitcoin goes up, I will have more BTCs because ETH is going to outperform Bitcoin. Or if ETH decides to go parabolic because of the fact that it's the only other coin that's really been institutionally adopted. Okay. And means that maybe ETH does this again. So the timing with Ethereum and alt season is a tough thing to call because you want to be in it for a small amount of time. You don't want to be in it for forever. So now I'm looking at this chart and I'm saying to myself, okay, this was the hope for the breakout. Maybe this is the hope for the breakout. Okay. So let's go to the 4-hour time frame. Now I've got a little bit of background. You kind of know what my game plan is. Remember, you're trading, your game plan for a living is. So if Ethereum is going to give me more multipliers than BTC, I would start trading Ethereum now as opposed to Bitcoin for that matter. And the key level that I think everybody should watch out for is when shit went wrong. So if you look at when stuff went wrong, we were fighting a resistance level for forever, and then it broke out. So now we lost that level again, and we turned it into resistance, and we've been fighting that range forever now. So is this the best time for me to convert my BTC into Ethereum? Hell no, we're at resistance. There's nobody around that can give me a 100% guarantee that this couldn't happen. So what do I want to do? I want to wait for this. ETH needs to go and show me that it's really going to now start moving. And then I will move into that. But here's the beauty now. This is now moving BTC to spot. But if I want to talk about trading Ethereum, let's just take away all the brush strokes here real quick. Delete that. If I want to talk about trading Ethereum, if I look at the supply and demand rate, let's remove the RSI for a while. Okay. What do we know? When the market creates these massive sell-off gaps, in the future, price will get trapped there. Massive move, massive move. Price gets trapped there in the future. Where do we have another massive move? There, we've got another one there, and we've got another one there. Now that price is trapped, there's very little reason for Ethereum to be here. So it could potentially jump this, just like it jumped there, and then start getting trapped. And here's the problem with timing this. Alt season didn't really happen for us. If we look at this now, if we start looking at the dominance has just been trending up. It's just been trending up. But finally now we've got on the weekly time frame strong bearish divergence. Remember, it's a bullish sign. But if we fall below this pivot, which we don't really have yet, the week still needs to close. It only then opens the door for maybe this. So it's early days, and that's also why ETH isn't quite ready. And another thing why I think our alt season didn't really happen is, if you look at Bitcoin macro view, so this chart, let's just take away the RSI. This chart, we kind of have our deadline for when the bull market needs to stop, September, October this year. After each and every halving, if you put a time flip between the two lines, you'll find that around the 38.2, you top out, and around the 618, you bottom out. Okay, top out, bottom out, top out, bottom out. So the simple way is we're looking for October to top out, and then we'll probably bottom out in August 2026, so a year from now. So that is the stock to flow game plan for BTC. But if we now bring in the dominance, I just want to do that and have the dominance below. The argument was, I mean, I was screaming alt season there, and we was hoping for alt season there. There's many times, guys. I've got it wrong with alt season many times now. That's why I'm questioning this. If we look at Bitcoin, I'll try and have the Bitcoin picture up there at the top for you guys. And maybe what I need to do, let's see if it on the line tool will look a little bit clearer. Now, we'll leave it like this. Now, what do we have is we had insane gains for Bitcoin, consistent momentum. And that meant that when the alt started moving, there was consistency within the gains. The second one, we had consistent Bitcoin moving as well. So when the alt started moving, consistency in the gains. The third time around, we had roughly the same thing, but with a little bit of a dodgy last little bit of the bull market. But we had the same thing. The alts moved nicely. Well, this is actually the last one. But this time around, let's zoom in onto Bitcoin for that. Bitcoin's been going up and then grinding sideways, going up, then grinding sideways, been going up and then grinding sideways. This means that the alts have had their moments where there was great buys. We can bring up some great buys. But because Bitcoin didn't have that consistent keep on going higher next week, keep on going, we'd had these weeks and months, 6 months at a time, where it was just grinding sideways. It took the fire away from these alts. If you look at Ethereum as an example, this is Ethereum. It took the fire away because when Bitcoin was still finding, ETH was kind of tracking with Bitcoin in the beginning. But after Bitcoin started grinding sideways, Ethereum, it took the fire away. And the same is true for Solana and a lot of these coins. So alt season, I think at this stage, with any of these coins I'm going to be looking at, needs to be your take profit horizon. Shouldn't be, I mean, I believe 10K for ETH is a possibility, but I'm not going to hold for that blindly. I'm going to use the divergence. If the divergence is there, okay, divergence is there, we fall below it, I'm going to get my ass out of the market. Okay, that's my warning to you guys regarding this. So I'm optimistic we're going to keep on going, but as soon as that's there, I'm going to get my ass and I'm going to move out of the market. Okay, so let's have a look at those coins then. Over to the comments real quick. Let's see. Jason reposted the stream. Thanks, Jason. Really appreciate you, buddy. And nice, Effie. Nice for joining. Okay. Good morning from Macedonia. Nice to have you here. Theta. People talking about Theta and Arweave. One of those very hyped coins in the last cycle, and now they're kind of like nowhere. Okay. Let's start with the coins that I said I was going to look at for us today, and then we'll move on to those ones. Let's load my list. Let's load my list. I must find my list. Let's start with, I'm going to start with OP. Now, this is a very dangerous coin to get in with. Now, OP is on the list. Remember now, we're trying to get in on, we're trying to plan for alt season and the hope, okay, that there's going to be a short-lived alt season. So OP is down here. And the hope is that maybe it's just going to beat Bitcoin slightly like any of these coins. And maybe then it's just going to peter out and then fall down again. But there's gains to be had there. And the rationale behind this is simple. When you have your launch, you have your launch pump, then you have your test of launch lows, typically. And then you have your markup and the coin starts moving. And where we're at right now on price is literally testing launch lows. Okay, so let's zoom in there. So you can argue that this is institutional demand for OP, meaning whoever is invested in this thing long term and wants to protect the price, the value of the network, they step in and buy. Market makers. Each and every guy that launches a coin that goes on top tiers, they've got market makers employed to keep the liquidity going on the coins. Okay. So where we're at right now is we're testing that. And how are we testing that low? We're testing that low through a set of strong bullish divergences. What I say, in this context, A strong bullish divergence is a bearish signal because you have lower lows in price still. And unless we get above the pivots, so that's your thou shall not cross line, unless we get above it, you need to treat this thing as it's going to keep on going down. Now, Bitcoin pushing all-time highs. Let's say Bitcoin does go and we hit 130 and the hype sentiment stays here. So Bitcoin shouldn't start grinding sideways. It should keep on stepping up. This will mean OP will start stepping up these levels. And once it starts doing it, it flips the dynamic. Then we start looking for bullish reasons for OP to start moving again. And let's say this was an overvaluation of the coin's value, the network's value. Clearly, head and shoulders. Where's where support was lost? There. Where's the imbalance? Right there. Where's my target to take my reasonable target for profit? $1.50. Where we're at now, it's 50 cents. So this is a 3x play. Simple. Don't think 30x. Don't think moon. Don't think $50 an OP. Be conservative at this stage, because clearly the market has been telling us that that is the better play. The greedy ones they've just been waiting for the big moon that never comes. Okay. Maybe we need long-term accumulation here. The market is growing wiser to the way that the old seasons used to work. So, if everybody's expecting it, then they have it. Let's see. Yuto, hello. Nice to see you here as well. And Jason as well. Nice. Thanks for joining in, guys. Okay. So let's move on to the next coin. Everybody fine with OP? Give me a 999 in the chat. Let's quickly wake this chat up. Okay. Give me a 999, or maybe not even a 999. Let's give me an OP. Dollar OP. Okay, let's see where you guys are at. Jason says, definitely been a rough part. It's been rough, guys. It's been rough. It's that time where you can just buy and just let the thing run. It's gone, I've got I call it a shill sheet on the paid side of the Discord. And let me quickly show you. Where I actually stopped doing this, but I actually now recently start looking at, guys, it's giving fundamental analysis. And I'm not trying to say whether they're good or bad. They've got communities behind them. So the coins they punt to their communities, okay, those coins listed, they're there. It's worth my time going to look at the coins. And maybe if they can generate momentum as a trader, I can get in on that and ride that wave and take profit on those people's asses. You want to do it. I want to do it. That's the whole game plan. So I've been keeping eyes on that to try and get in on these kind of, early projects there. So make sure to head over to the other side of the Discord if you can, and go check that out. That's it's gonna change the dynamic, I think, slightly with these altcoins. Okay, and it's rough because some of the stuff they shared, if you go and look at them now, I mean, they're horrible. And it's not necessarily the project's fault. The market has been very cruel to crypto investors. It's just been there. So if you have a good understanding of how the technicals works and you wait for the right momentum to play, the odds of getting in on good projects is just better, because then you know at least where to take your trade towards. Okay, so there you have. I've got the OPs. Good day. Nice. Thanks, guys. Okay, over to the next one. I'm going to speed things up. So it's going to be Celestia. Let's talk Celestia. I've got it loaded here. I don't need to type it in. Okay. Max, not on a bouncing ball. It's too cold. It's winter, man. I'm sitting with a blanket around my bum. I'm telling you now. Okay, so same shit, different coin. Okay, so it does look a lot like the same, but this is the worry that I have with Celestia. And Elio even said that in one of his videos. It's hot, but maybe not anymore. You've got your launch candles here, and you've got your pump. This thing flew like crazy. And you've got the scenario where, it needed to be bullish there. And you had your divergence, lower low in price, higher low in the RSI, and you were trying to get above that resistance pivot, and it just died on your ass. And the problem now is that this thing's got price discovery to the bearish side. Now, I'm interested in this coin. I'm going to be honest with you. I'm really interested in this coin, but we need to now build a base. And then when it's done, the probable target for this one will be there in the imbalance. Now, big question. And you guys you should have asked that already in the comments. Rudo, why the hell then share this coin with us, if it's not something we need to look at? Simple. This is a typical case study of the dangers of coins that look a lot like OP, but isn't like OP. Okay. So OP is sitting there with hope, a divergence, a reason for me, a line to draw in the sand. And this one doesn't have that. And that's why I will just skip on this one. For now, go prove to me you want to be bullish. Let somebody else take the risk. And then I'll be back on this one. And then we'll ride this wave together again. Okay, make sense? Okay, there is. Let's see what this comment. There is a TA proposal to remove staking. Proposal didn't pass yet, but if yes, we have a 300 million TR unstaked in the market. So, and that's probably what people are worried about. Thanks. Good point there. Maybe that's what people are worried about. The fact of the matter is technical analysis doesn't have an opinion. It just says that the risk at this stage is risk off. Leave it alone. Wait for it. Okay. So that's it. Worth noting. Maybe something else happens in the future that changes the dynamic. Remember, good news is always a lubricant. It doesn't change things. It just enhances the emotion or the ride that happens around this. This is all the emotional market cycle in the end of the day. If you look at this and you go to the emotional, that's why it's crypto EMC. This is always going to be the place. And maybe we're at anger with TR, or maybe we're at depression, or maybe we're between anger and depression, and there still needs to be more depression. We don't know. At this stage, once it turns around, we will have an opportunity there, just not yet. Okay. Right. Goeiemorgen, Kilian. Nice to join. Right. Let's talk about the next one. What was the other coins that I wanted to share with you? Let's quickly go to the Discord. Let's remind ourselves. Altcoins to watch. Which is the other coins? I think it was hyper liquid. Let's have a look at that one. Okay. Now, this is a different story that I want to play out with you guys. So I'm going to switch this to candles again. And what I have on this chart for you is a fractal. So there you've got SUI at launch. Here you've got HBAR at launch. And if we examine the fractal, I'm going to zoom in, just make the image bigger. You'll find that launch candle happens. We typically go to 50%, and then we go test support. And then the history, you know where SUI is right now. It's $3, okay? So that's typically what happens with new coins when they launch. Now, why am I talking about this one? Well, it's right up there, guys. It's sitting right there on the coins that's been outperforming Bitcoin consistently for the last 3 months. So it's something to take note of. And here's another example, just HBAR. This is another example of exactly just that. Launch candle, builds a base, rejects at around the 50, goes and tests that, and then go to the moon. So what is the rule of thumb here with any of these coins? Being second is probably more profitable than being there first. Okay. Now, there's coins out there that does this and then keeps on going. That's the risk you take. But it's not, then it should be water of the duck's back, you know. It's not that significant. You don't care about that. It's just one of those things. So where we're at with hype now, Hyperliquid, is we're sitting in that same area where that 50% is around that range. Bring in the RSI. You can clearly see if we push new highs, there's divergence. It's a bullish signal, but there is already a pivot created. We go above it and we fall below this again at 42, then it's going to hurt you. So if you're enjoying some gains, or if you want to have some gains, clearly this coin has bullish momentum. So it's statistically a good bet that it's going to keep on going higher. But when it falls below 42, you've got an invalidation. You need to get your ass out. Okay, simple as that. If hype is something you have, give me a 444, or something you would like to have. Give me a 666. Do that. Let's see if you guys are interested in this. Otherwise, I'm not going to bring the coin up to you guys again. Okay, so there you have it. Has my outlook on the FIP changed? No, it hasn't changed. I'm still thinking 3 more months, 4 more months max. I'm just changing my perspective on alt season, Max. It's just the one thing there. Alt season, let's take these coins level by level and use them to make some gains and walk away. Okay, let's have a look at the last coin that I wanted to share with you guys, and that was Arrow. Now, Arrows, again, it's one of those. If we have a look at this list, it's right up there. It's been outperforming Bitcoin consistently. Now, the Genius Act, I'm not perfectly versed with what the Genius Act or the stable, it runs parallel with the Stable Coin Act. It's basically the US way to say, okay, right, we want to incorporate that into our money supply. So we're going to regulate stable coins. So if we want to accredit and say that your USDT is a true representation of our dollar, you have to have a certain amount of reserves, and it's all really positive. If that happens, stable coins then get regulated. It means DeFi will then go into another alt season. And that's why Hype at this stage is starting to get momentum, or Hyperliquid, and Arrow, because it's really good DeFi plays. Now I'm talking about Curve. We've got Curve. We're talking about Comp. But Comp is not so much on the stablecoin side. It's more on the altcoin side. But this DeFi then will maybe have its second injection, because up till now it's no alt season, meme season, and no DeFi season, and no AI season. Really, these coins have all just died on our asses. So it's just something to remind and keep in the back of our head. So the play was, as I shared this, if you don't use Twitter, you can actually go check me out. I started a new account on CoinMarketCap. And the play was very simple. So it's about a month old. We can have a look at the Arrow play there. This was the play that I was expecting things to go to around 70 cents. And then from that point onwards, we want to see this Wyckoff chart play out. So I want to see a trend forming above the range. So it's early days on this one. So let's mark that out with you guys in short. So although the candles don't look like a typical Wyckoff schematic, we know these schematics, we all love them. We want to, you want this to play out picture perfect like that. Although it doesn't play out to the logic, let me just remind you, the logic remains the same. Accumulation, markup phase. I'm looking for the markup phase for this thing to go to wherever the distribution is going to be. And the one thing that we've got going for ourselves is that this thing is, let's mark it. Let's look at the divergence. Upper end of the range, then we can say where's divergence again, bottom end of the range there, and then obviously supply zone. So we will incorporate that as part of the top of the range. And then this is the area where resistance was. So that needs to be turned into support now. It's simple physics. We're not trying to be too smart asses here. We're just looking at support resistance, considering the pivots, and that's it. So in order for this now to become bullish, I want to see trend within range. So your best bet is to grab a little bit and say to yourself, okay, great. This is the argument. But if we fall below this range, let's say we fall below 70 and we start opening and closing candles and making structures below this, it's just going to die, and then it's not ready to move. Then we're going to test these lows again. And there's a lot of coins. We can look at DOT that went through that pain. So it is risky buying these lows. Okay. It's risky buying these lows. Stepping up, maybe it's going, and then it runs, and then you think it's moon, and then doesn't come back. So, and you don't want this to turn into a lower low. So as soon as you start falling back into old ranges, it changes the way. So here, a retrace is a buy the dip. But because we went lower now all of this is in question. And that's the play with Arrow. I don't want to have all of that in question. So the move now needs to move. The momentum needs to kick in. And the argument is that if momentum is going to be healthy, you're going to pick up something similar to this. And I'll share this chart with you guys. I'm just going to scroll down. Similar to this that we did with Coin. Build the basis. It's a meme on Bybit, on Bitcoin, okay? Build the base, get the momentum, and then start creating these Elliott wave. You want to see the move play out. So these plays, albeit in a very risky environment at this stage, you almost need to have very little tolerance for drawdown and say, you need to go do the work now for me that I am buying you for. Because if you die down, I know you're going to hurt me more, and I rather don't want to be with it. So don't marry them, don't date them, just use them, okay? Abuse them, okay? Right, then I said I was going to do one more coin. So we got Awe, we've got my old favorite Telos. Let's see what else we've got here. We had Theta and Yasmi. So there's 4 coins, guys. And each one is only one comment on. So there's no majority rule wins here. So the next comment on one of those 4, I will then chart. So it's on to you guys to decide which one makes more sense. So let me know. There's always a little bit of a delay. 40 minutes in. This has been a very long stream, but I did neglect you guys on Tuesday and Wednesday. So now I've got a new one, ICP. Come on, guys. Ave, any one of that. I want you guys to let me know which ones we should chart. So on to you into the comments. Let me know. Let's see. Go on, I'll give it a few more seconds. Otherwise, I'm going to pick. Oh, there, Yasmi. Okay, so now we've got it. There we have it. Yasmi wins. All right. So let's have a look at this one. So good accumulation. Markup phase. So it played out as per this schematic. Now we're sitting in a situation where, what do we have? We've got a high, got a higher high. Then we've got a low. And then we've got a lower low. Then we've got a lower high. And what do we have in RSI? No divergence as of yet. So the question of this one is, has this one completed its emotional market cycle? Or is it, because, I mean, you don't want to be in something that's just, it's still not there. It hasn't created that strong bullish divergence bottom for us. Okay, this is daily time frame. Now, if you look at the 4-hour, you might find some good news. But remember now, the time expectancy for a 4-hour divergence to last is different to that of a daily or of a weekly. And so just remember this, keep this in the back of your mind with this one. So at this stage, it's not a really good bullish coin, to be honest. You've got support turned into resistance. So until this one does this, the odds is that it's going to do that. That's my take on this one. And it's all because of that, probably that imbalance. And then you still have all this that will get tested. And maybe that's the bottom. So maybe the play for Yasmi is dead. Maybe, because you need retail hype to push this. And we clearly see that Bitcoin doesn't quite give that to us. Okay, so that's it. That's my take on this one. So until that happens, I can't really think on anything else. So what do you do if you're stuck and you're drowning on this one? There's an imbalance. Typically, coins will go and visit the imbalance and then sell off, or regain, make a higher high and turn that into support. Imbalance revisits that. I'm not making this stuff up. Imbalance revisits that. So those would be areas. There's an imbalance, revisits that. Imbalance revisits that. So it will go and revisit those areas and then decide what it wants to do. Same is true for the bullish side of things. Okay. Right. Guys, that's everything that I have time for. I mean, this has been imbalance revisits. That's a messy one. It's not a picture perfect one, but it's there. Okay, there you have it. Have a lovely day, guys. I will post the charts during the run of the day into the Discord. Make sure to go there, and we will keep tabs on this in the altcoins to watch thread in the discussion channel. So you're more than welcome to join. This is yet again, you don't have to have any paid membership. Just need to be in the Discord. You can join that. Thanks so much, guys. Love having you here. Love chatting coins with you guys. Would love to continue the conversation in the Discord. You have a lovely day. I'll be back tomorrow. Cheers.